My dear friends, this coffee break session, is from one of you. I'm sorry I don't remember who asked this, but somebody asked me to do a video about growing under ACMPR, the Access to Cannabis for Medical Purposes Regulations. ACMPR. Well, what do I think of it? Did they give us increased access by allowing us to grow? No, they did not. They further restricted our freedoms. And I'll explain to you why I think so. First of all, the ability to grow prior to ACMPR was all illegal, but still growing can be a little bit expensive and thus drives the price per gram from anybody. It's all about cost. And what did the ACMPR program do? Growing your own is supposed to be cheaper. And maybe long term under ACMPR it will be, but short term it's more expensive and more restrictive. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all, to answer the question of that person, the amount of plants you're allowed to grow is calculated on your per gram daily amount. My daily amount is 6 grams a day. That means that I can grow upwards of 30 plants. Some indoor, some outdoor. There's calculators online. Just Google ACMPR growing calculator, you'll find it. But basically, 6 grams a day. If you're 2 grams a day, it's 10. It's multiplied by 5 your per grams per day, and that's the amount of plants you're allowed. So if you're 1 gram per day, you're allowed 5 plants. Now, that being said, that would have been okay. That would have been okay if you were allowed to get your seeds anywhere and grow. But you're not even allowed to get seeds. You're only allowed to buy clones, and you have to buy your clones from a licensed producer. Only a few of the licensed producers are producing clones, such as Whistler. Whistler, I know, at least when I studied it, they were the only ones that had already developed it. And this is the pricing. You have to buy 5, minimum 5 clones. The first 5 clones are $300 a clone. So it's $1,500 just to buy your first 5 clones. Any clone after that is standard price, which is about $20 a clone. That's what it's always been out there, $10 a clone, $20 a clone. But your first 5 is huge. And that's with every strain. So if you're like most people, you don't medicate with 1 strain. You medicate with 2, usually 3 or 4. But if you're growing your own, phenotypes and difficulties with different plants, you're probably going to grow 2 or 3 different plants. Well, now you're looking at 1,500 times 2 or 3. And that is just to get your clones. You have to manage those clones. You have to get them into small pots, then you have to get them into bigger pots. You have to have air, you have to have all these different equipment, and all your equipment has to be authorized by Health Canada. So they have further restricted not only where you can get your clones from, and that you are not allowed to own seeds, but you also are restricted as to where you can buy the equipment from. And they suggest that there could be reviews of your growing apparatus. I would not let Health Canada look at what I'm doing growing wise. Our right to grow it's a plant, and it takes dirt and some food and some air. But no, the government has closed the doors all around that plant and said, we'll manage it with you. Thus, it's going to be really expensive to grow your own. And as far as I decided when I looked into it, not worthwhile for me. I'm not going to do it. Also, if you grow your own for the interim while your first plants are growing, you're allowed to purchase from your LP. But once you've had your first harvest, you're not allowed to purchase anything else because you're expected to be growing your own and have your own. But what if what if your strain works perfect on fibromyalgia, like me, but a couple of months into it, you break an arm or a leg or something and you need a different strain to handle that pain, or you need a CBD strain to handle something. You can't do anything about it. I'm sure maybe somehow you could work out some, hey, I need a new plant and I haven't ordered the stuff yet, so can I increase my amount? It's just become a hassle. It's become ridiculous. So ACMPR, did they increase our access to this plant by allowing us to grow? No, they did not. They restricted it further. I have yet to talk to anybody who's growing under ACMPR. So if I'm wrong on any of these, and I very often am wrong or mistaken, if I am, comment below. Let me know that I'm a little off the track on a few things, but I'm all about freedom. And if we're allowed to grow our own, we should be allowed to get our seeds from anywhere, grow from anywhere. And yes, if once in a while they want to give us a little bit of advance notice and review our grow ops, they should be able to, but only to see that we're not using banned pesticides and things like that. Not what plants do you have, where'd they come from, you better not have seeds, that kind of stuff. You know, the nanny country of Canada is trying to manage every single step in this process, and it's time for them to stop. So that's my talk on growing. I think all they did was make a whole bunch more growers go underground. They are increasing access to the black market and gray market by their further restrictive ways. They created the dispensary model because of their restrictions. They will create a new underground growing model because of their restrictions. Government is its own worst enemy. Peace and cheers. Love and harmony.